Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to read your mind. Gross, but that's not actually how this game works. This is Medium, a mind-reading party game for 2 to 8 players ages 14 and up. So let's see how this plays.
So when you first buy the game, you want to set up the box. It sorts out the cards in a very nice and convenient way. The cards are in multiple decks, but each one will have a little number in the corner. So you'll sort out 15 groups of 18 cards each. They have little dividers, and then you set it up. And then there's also going to be these special cards that you use during the game, which will have their own slot in the box as well. And then there's these counters, which you'll sort out. 3 groups, they'll have a 1, a 2, or a 3. These are called your mind meld tokens, and they are used during the game for keeping score. So once you're ready to play, you'll set up the deck for the game, and what you do is you pick as many numbers as there are players minus 1. So for example, in a 4-player game, you would pick out 3 decks. You can use any ones you want. You can go random, you can roll for it. I'll just randomly pick a few. I'm going to show an example with 4 players, so we'll select 3 groups of cards. I'm going to get one more here. We'll select 3 random groups of cards, and you put them together. The next thing you'll do is shuffle them together into 3 piles. So let's make some room to shuffle. Okay, and then you'll divide into 3 roughly even piles. That looks about even, I suppose. And the reason you do that is because you're going to put 3 crystal ball cards into the final pile. These are the cards that tell you when the game is over, so you want to shuffle them in to the bottom third of the deck. So just kind of stick them in there, mix it up a bit. Take your other 2 piles and put them on top. I shuffle them once more just for fun. Usually I try to keep everything facing the same direction. I forgot to do that. But there's your draw deck. You put it somewhere where everyone can reach it, and you'll deal 6 cards to each player. So let's show a couple of sample hands. We'll use my He-Man figures for this. We've got Skeletor and Merman, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. So each player gets 6 cards. So the way the game works is one player goes first, like in most games. Now a player will go and you form temporary teams during the game. So the first turn, Orko and Man-at-Arms would be a team, and they'd guess each other's cards. The next turn, Orko and Merman would be a team, and they would try to guess the card. Merman and Skeletor trying to guess, and then Skeletor and Orko trying to guess. So the way the guess works, the player whose turn it is, their partner goes first. So player 1 here, Orko, his partner would be Man-at-Arms. So Man-at-Arms would pick a card from his hand. That's why I meant to shuffle these all the same direction, huh? Let's say he would pick Tree. So he plays the Tree card. Orko then would look at his hand and play a card as well. And he'd want to play one that he thinks would like help Man-at-Arms guess. So let's say he picks orange. The 2 look each other in the eye, and then they count 3, 2, 1, and in unison they guess the word. So they try to guess a single word or phrase. It could be 2 or 3 words, I guess, if it's a phrase, but a single noun that both of these could relate to. So like if this was me, if I was Man-at-Arms here, my guess would be the word apple. Yeah? For example, Orko could guess plant or something like that. But so if they both guess the same word, they win the round, and they get a first round token piece. These have either a 5 or 6 on the back for score, and then it would go in between the two because you're scored at teams at the end. Now if they missed that word, one of two things can happen. If they miss the word but they think they're close, they can ask their opponents if it was close enough. So let's say Man-at-Arms said apple and Orko said plant. They'd say, well, we think that's close enough. And then these two would decide, no, it's not close enough. So then they do another round. The next round, it's almost like starting over. They use the 2 words from the previous guess. So Man-at-Arms would be using apple and Orko would be using plant. So they're trying to find the word that would combine the 2, apple and plant, but it can't be one of these 2 words either. So like apple and plant, let's say they could guess the word fruit, and they both guessed that, so then they would get a second round token since they guessed it at the same time. And then the cards go to discard, and they each draw a new card to keep their deck at 6. The next round would start, be Man-at-Arms' turn. So Merman would pick. We'll do one more round with Merman. Oh, I should say, if you guess it on the 3rd round, it's the same thing. You just can't use any of the previous words. And then you get a 3rd round token if you guess it. And if you don't guess it, you don't get any tokens and the game just proceeds. So we'll just look, let's say, Merman picks beach since he's a merman. Then Man-at-Arms would pick his card. Okay, he'd pick Mars. So this one they should be able to guess on the first try, right? So then, again, they face each other, try to mind meld a bit. They count down 3, 2, 1, and then they both say a word. Let's say they both say sand. They'd win, so they'd get a first round token. And then the cards go to discard, and they each draw a new card. Then the next round, be Merman and Skeletor do the same thing, then Skeletor and Orko. And it goes around like that. And it's not uncommon for a round to pass where you don't get any points either. But it goes around like that until one of these are drawn. Once a crystal's drawn, it's placed in a location, so we all know that there's a crystal, but then the game just proceeds. But once all 3 crystals are drawn, once all 3 crystals are drawn, you finish the round so that every player gets the same amount of guesses, and then the game ends. You add up your scores, whichever team has the most scores. So like Man-at-Arms and Merman would have a team here, Orko and Man-at-Arms have a team here. Whichever team has the most scores wins the game and becomes the medium, and it's very cool. So there is an advanced rule where there's these special cards. I'll show how those work, and they're pretty simple. Each player is dealt 1 of each at the beginning of the game that they can use at certain times during their turn. So Clear Mind you can use at the beginning of your turn. It'll have you discard your hand, draw a new hand. Fun stuff. And then Psychic Link you play during an opposing team's turn, where you get to be in on their guess. So instead of a 2-way guess, it's a 3-way. And if they are correct, you get a token as well. So that's it. Then you add up all the scores. So these just kind of add to the game if you want to do it. But that's how the game works. I'll say it's not quite my type of game. I played it a little bit with the kids, but they're young, so it's kind of hard. Might be good for a party game. I think it's awesome if Skeletor can be at the party as well. But that's it for this game. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, if you've played it, and if you've got any questions. But I will be back with another video soon. So until then, thanks for watching.